Good morning, Floss Tube. It's Julie with Reflections Framing and Stitching. Today is Saturday. It's the 25th of June. And this is Chart of the Day video number 137. Welcome. How are you today? It's a beautiful, sunny, hot, humid day. We were supposed to get storms overnight. We didn't. Not my part of town anyway. And I guess it's not as sunny as I thought. It's kind of partly cloudy. I think maybe the storms are coming. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you're having great, fantastic summer weather where you're at. Tomorrow is supposed to be pretty good here. Planning a lot of outdoor stuff for tomorrow. So watch, it'll rain all day. June 25th. Goodness, where did June go? My sister called me yesterday morning, and the first words out of her mouth was, "What happened to June?" And I had to stop and process what she was asking me, because I was thinking, June, do we know a June? June. Oh, she meant the month of June. It was early. I wasn't firing on all cylinders. So, yeah, it's like almost the 4th of July. I leave for vacation a week from, well, I'm closed a week from yesterday, which was one of the questions I had, but I'll say it again when I'm talking the questions. I'll say the dates that the shop will be closed so that everyone is aware. Let's see, where shall we start? You all surprised me with your answers on the question of the week from last week. It may have skewed my research a little bit, and I may have to ask you to do it one more time. I've got to get with Alex. She's going to help me gather the data and put it into an Excel spreadsheet and see what we get. But I may have to ask you another time, one more time. I'll get into that whenever we get the data figured out. I know a lot of you are dying to know what it is I'm trying to do. And I don't want to explain it yet in case I do have to, because that would definitely skew your responses. So I have to get with her, and that may not happen until we're on vacation. So we'll see. We will see. But I thank you very much for participating. Even the part that I think it's okay if I share what really surprised me. Well, there were two things that really surprised me. A lot of you don't stitch patriotic, which surprised me, because it's always been very popular here in my shop. And number two, y'all are over those trucks. There's so many comments about being over the trucks. So, and that surprised me also. But thank you for answering. Even those of you, I knew I would get people who were outside the U.S. that don't stitch patriotic, and I was fully expecting that. It was the rest of you that I wasn't expecting. So we'll see. We will see. So let me anyway, thanks again for answering the question. I do appreciate you taking the time out of your day. So let me address a couple of comments. I want to thank the people who had ship suggestions for Dan. So far, the ones that were suggested, I think, are too big. He doesn't want to stitch on anything small. So, and the opening really is not very big. So, but thank you for keeping an eye out for him. Debbie was talking about how she hasn't been feeling well. So Debbie, I hope by the time you see this, you are feeling much improved. Anissa, A-N-I-S-S-A, I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, and I'm sorry if I'm not. She's about to start the ES Motif Sampler and wanted to know if I had a fabric suggestions because she was worried about choosing something that didn't end up working. And you didn't say what count fabric you were going to work on. So generalized suggestions. I pulled the floss. Well, first of all, I'm hoping I found the correct sampler. And I pulled the floss, and there is white in it if I chose the right sampler. So my recommendation was you're going to want to make sure that what you choose is dark enough so the white will show up well. And just as a generalized suggestions, flax would, I mean, it's pretty neutral, but white usually shows up on that okay. Dirty, the colors looked really pretty on Zweigart's Dirty. Mushroom is a very good neutral, and everything showed up on there. And then if you were looking for like an overdyed fabric, Baked Clay from Fox and Rabbit was pretty with those colors. So those are just, it's hard for me to choose a fabric when I don't have the sampler in front of me, and you're not here to kind of guide me as to what you like to stitch on. You know, I'm kind of just shooting in the dark there, but hopefully those suggestions will work for you. Kim asked how I get my teapots to shine. She likes the darker color like the one I showed, but she says hers aren't shiny and mine are, and I don't do anything to them. That's how I buy them. Once in a while I will dust them, and that's about it. I do have some that aren't as shiny. I don't know what makes the difference, truly. Jay Malone asked what makes a design a sampler. And that kind of, sort of depends upon who you ask. Generally speaking, just generally speaking, a sampler usually has an alphabet, a border, motifs, and figures. Okay, so some combination of those. But an argument could be made that everything we stitch is a sampler, because if you look up the definition of sampler, and I'm going to read it so I get it right, it's a piece of embroidery or cross stitch that's produced as a specimen of achievement. Well, pretty much everything we stitch is produced as a specimen of achievement. We're all achieving a goal. We're all doing it to get an end product. So technically, everything we stitch is a sampler. However, generally speaking, it's got a border, it's got an alphabet or numbers, it's got motifs. So, you know, like I wouldn't classify, let's say this, I wouldn't classify this as a sampler, although it has numbers, it has a border, you know, it's got little motif. So technically that could be classified as a sampler. When I look at it, it's not what I would classify as a sampler. And there are different types of samplers. There are band samplers, there are Quaker samplers, there are spot samplers. So that is a kind of a loaded question, because everybody has their own opinion. So I don't know if that helped you or not. I hope it did. Okay, Kathy, I will be closed from July 1st through July 7th. Hopefully that's not when you and your friends were planning to come through. And And then Paula, you asked for the cost of a fat quarter of emerald, and I do not have a fabric called emerald, so I can't tell you the answer to that question. If you want to send me an email with the correct fabric name, I can try and help you out, but I can't help you with emerald. Okay, that's pretty much the only comments I had. You guys did like my knife that I used for display purposes, and made several suggestions on what might be more appropriate than a knife. But of course, I had these two long, I think they were shish kebab skewers. We don't do shish kebab. It was something Dan brought home from work. They had shish kebab or something. I don't know. And I was going to remember to bring them, but of course I didn't. I forgot my phone today too. So again, I'm apparently not functioning on all cylinders. I woke up at some god-awful hour this morning. I think it was probably 4 a.m. I don't know why, but I did. So I'm already tired and ready to go back to bed. But I made do. I found some things here in the shop that will work. And sorry, I had to grab the chart. I think this is going to work much better than the stupid rings. So, all right, today's chart of the week is Plum Street Sampler's Thistle House, and it looks like that. Now, she says, the model was originally stitched on Liberty Gathering Gray, but the suggested linen has been updated to 36 count Barb's Blend, both are an R&R fabric. Both R&R. Both are dyed by R&R. How's that? Does that sound better? I think so. Stitch count is 91 by 126, so it's not huge, and it uses All Weeks Dye Works with a DMC equivalent. I have pulled both for your viewing pleasure. There are some differences that might make a little bit of difference in your finished design. And there are some fabrics that I chose that one works better than the other. The DMC works better than the overdyed. And I'll try and remember which ones those were. What else can I tell you? I think it's a sweet little design. It's been pretty much ignored. I think I've sold one copy of it since market. But it's a sweet little design. The lady that I did sell it to changed she thought Thistle should be purple, and so she did change that color to purple. What else can I tell you? Did you know that Thistle is the national emblem of Scotland? In medieval times, it was thought to cure such ailments as canker sores and headaches. It was also thought to help remedy the plague and cause hair growth in those who were bald. I don't know, make Dan some tea with thistle in it then. That wasn't nice of me. Okay, so one last picture. In this picture, it looks like kind of a creamy white to me, and there is a lady here that does not show up. Can you see her? Her dress does not show up in this picture. She's very hard to see. And on the called for fabric, she's going to be very hard to see. This is Barb's Blend from R&R. It is a very, very light gray color. And those are the colors. The week's colors anyway. Get you a little closer so you can see them better. Now, I don't know. me flip them. These are in the same order as the top ones. So you can see that they're pretty similar. One big exception, which is going to make a difference, is this up here is flatfish, and it's a lot more gray than the DMC called for, which is 3790. 3790 is more of a brown color with no gray in it. So that will make a difference on the fabric color that you choose. But anyway, that's the called for. Quit wiggling, Julie. They want to look, not see it wiggle. Okay, next. Just a simple beige. This is mushroom, 36 count mushroom from Zweigart. I think they're pretty on there. The closest similar color to the called for, I have this Regency, which looks different in Ada than it does in linen. I didn't like it in the linen. I do like it on the Ada. So this is a 16 count Regency. It's from Seraphim. And it has, I don't know if you'll be able to tell because it's pretty subtle. It is pretty subtle, but it has hits of green and pink in it. But it's subtle. And I think this would be really pretty on there. Either the DMC or the Weeks would be good on that. I have to try and fold this back up the way it was. I don't know how it was folded. Something like that. Okay, moving on. Next up we have 18 count Celadon Ada from Zweigart. It's a nice green, and I liked the colors on it. I know a lot of people don't like green, but Julie does. Let me spread them out a little. There. It's kind of a minty green. There's plenty of contrast because this green is more of a yellow green. So I think it would be just fine. Next up is 36 count vintage patina from Lakeside Linens. Don't have a whole lot of it, but I did enjoy the color. Sand. This is 40 count sand from Fiber on a Whim. Now, it's green. I have never seen sand this color. I haven't been everywhere though, so maybe there is sand in this color, but I don't know that I'd want to be playing in it. But it is definitely a green, but I do like the colors with it. It's more of a yellow green than the Celadon, but there's still enough contrast with the putty that it'll show up. Seaside from Stephanie. It's a blue mixed with some beige in it. I don't know if you can, maybe this side is better. There's a little tan beige running around in there. And I think that would be really, really pretty. And then, you know, I had to throw some darks in there. So this is Tin Roof, 40 count, I think, from Weeks Dye Works. Yeah, 40 count. And I checked because the gray, the Weeks gray, this one right here, is pretty similar in color to the fabric, but it's surrounded by other colors, so it's not going to be a problem. I already checked that out for you. And in this instance, the flatfish that I talked about earlier may not show up as well as this, the DMC. There's not a lot of it. That's not what I meant to say. The house is the flatfish. So I think when it's stitched, because it's such a solid stitching, I think the flatfish would be fine, but if you were a little concerned, then the DMC is going to show up better on this particular color. And last but not least is 18th Century Blackbird from R&R. And this is a 36 count. And there's the DMC on there. I really think the colors are pretty on there. So if I had to pick one, I would probably choose either this, or I really like the mushroom. Look at that. That's really pretty. This is the roof, so it should be fine because it's solid stitching. The roof and the birds. So that would be fine. So that one, the mushroom, and I do kind of like that seaside if I were going to do a brighter color. So that concludes the chart of the week portion of the video. I hope you enjoyed this chart. I think it's really sweet, but I would want her to show up. So I chose fabrics that she would show up on, other than the called for and the 1/8 that was close to the called for as I could get. In that case, if it were me, I would brighten up that cream color because it's ecru in the DMC and it's light khaki, and I'd probably make it, I don't know, maybe it's conch. I think her dress is conch. So it'd be, let me double check that for you. No, it's light khaki. So yeah, I would probably whiten it, you know, make it B5200, or that might be a little bright. The winter white, 3865, or even just white, so that it showed up a little bit better, because I'm not one of these people that likes ghost stitching. If I'm going to stitch it, I really want to be able to see it. So that's what I have to say about that. Question of the week for this week. I had a lot of people in this week, and by a lot I mean like 3, that came in. I greeted them, asked them if there was anything I could do to help, and received the response of, no, that's okay, I'm just looking, which is fine. But my question to you is, And usually when that happens, I'll let them browse for a little while, and then I'll check in with them and make sure that they're finding everything that they, you know, that they're getting the lay of the land and everything. So my question is, if you go into a store and you tell the person working the store that you're just looking, do you mean I'm just looking, don't bother me? Or do you mean I'm just looking, give me a few minutes, and then try and chat me up? I never know, because I know when I go into a store, but I'm a little different, being an introvert. When I go into a store and I'm not comfortable in the store, or it's the first time I've been in the store, and I say, no thank you, I'm just looking. That I mean, no thank you, I'm just looking, don't bother me, I'll come to you if I want to talk to you. But that's me. And I always feel kind of, I don't want to come off as being unfriendly, which I know I can. So there was this one that came in this week, and I just got really cold vibes from her. I checked in with her a couple different times, asked her if she was finding everything okay, or if I could help her find fabric. She was standing in front of the fabric wall, and I asked her if she needed help finding fabric, and I've got, no, I'm fine. I'm just looking to see what you have. So, did she really mean she was fine? She was just looking to see what I have, or did she really want my help? And I just don't know. So I'm asking you, because you're all a wide variety of personalities, and when you say, no thank you, I'm just looking, do you want me to leave you alone? Do you want me to let you browse and then ask? Do you want me? I just don't want to come off as being unfriendly, but I also don't want to bother people if they truly don't want to be bothered. So that's my question. Can you share with me your thoughts on that? And because in the end, it's what the customer prefers. And I know I'm going to get a wide variety of responses, but I just kind of want to get as a general rule kind of thing. Because it was one of those weeks where the people that came in were, no, I'm just looking. And I just don't want to come off, I'm explaining myself poorly. I don't want to come off as unfriendly. And I know I can come off that way because I'm kind of blunt and abrupt. And I don't sugarcoat things. So if you could help me out with that, I would appreciate it. All right. That's pretty much the business end of things. Dan and I worked outside last night a little bit in the yard. It's looking so much better. He worked really hard. He had a day of vacation yesterday, so he worked really hard on the side of the house. Again, there was that tree and the roots had come up, and the grass is looking really good now, but the roots had totally destroyed like the rock wall. So he rebuilt the rock wall yesterday, and he moved the 2 hostas that he had planted in the front last year. He moved those over to the side, got rid of a lot of the weeds, and trimmed back the tree, and it's looking really, really good. It looks like someone cares again. So he worked hard yesterday, and then last night we went and bought some. Lowe's had some plants 50% off. Things are looking a little half dead. I'm hoping I can get them to come back. And most of what I bought was geraniums, and I think they will come back. But we got some hanging pots and hung those, and a couple of just planters to sit on like the front steps. So it's gradually looking like someone cares again. He was going to do some more stuff outside, but it was really humid this morning. But like I said, it's going to cool off for tomorrow, so we might save the outdoor stuff for tomorrow. Connie and I are going to try and squeeze in one last trip to the antique store today after work. So I haven't decided if I'm going to cancel Zoom tonight or just delay Zoom, because it can take us 4 hours at least to go through. But she leaves on Sunday. I don't know if you've watched the Two Chicks and a Camera video that I posted yesterday morning. It's a long one. You get the two of us together, we don't shut up. So, but the people that have watched it and commented have enjoyed it. So, and I don't usually address comments from that video because usually they're months apart. But one gal did say something about samplers, and I mustn't like them because I never show any. That is not true. I do like samplers. I have several started. It's just not what I'm working on right now. And I do quite often show samplers in these videos. So maybe you're just not watching the videos where I am actually showcasing a sampler, but I do showcase them. So we're going to do that. Then she'll leave. It will be a sad day in Omaha. And I've got to start getting ready for vacation. I got some cooking to do and some shopping to do, and fireworks stands open this weekend, so evenings are going to be hellish with Remy. They don't bother Rags, but Remy's going to be a total and complete nightmare. I hate this time of year. And with that, I think I don't have a whole lot else. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you get some stitching done. I'm still being monogamous. What is up with that? Last night I didn't stitch at all because by the time we came in I was hot and sweaty and I felt buggy and I just didn't want to touch my stitching. So I didn't stitch at all last night. And I don't know about tonight yet. But I'm still working on my land that I love, so I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But I hope you get a lot of stitching done. And thank you again for answering the question of the day. Thank you for your likes, your comments. Thank you for subscribing if you've subscribed recently. And I will call that good. I hope you have an awesome week, and I will not see you next weekend. Unless I still plan to do a video on the bathroom and bedroom remodel. And I'm hope maybe this weekend. Maybe I'll get to it this weekend. And maybe I'll post it next weekend whilst I'm away from the camera. But otherwise, there will not be a video next weekend. I hope you have a wonderful and safe 4th of July if you celebrate that. And again, a special thanks to those who live outside the U.S. who still played the game last week in spite of it being patriotic. And I know that that's not your thing. So I do appreciate you playing along. I'm going to let you go because I'm just rambling now. So take care. Till next time. Bye.